So let me dive into this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. John Belkowitz, Director of R&D, Intelligent Concrete, and Haley asked, or David, David asked an amazing question.
Through his video idea.
Through his video idea, and it was, what would it be like a day in a life without concrete? And as much as I like it, I'd like to direct the question a different way. If you're okay with that, Haley.
We might do another video, but yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I give a lot of presentations, and sometimes if I remember before I head out of the house or head out of the office, I'll bring this book, and it's called The Magic Powder by Earl J. Hadley, and I believe it was written in 1947, and it was sponsored by 1945, and it was sponsored by the Universal Atlas Cement Company and its predecessors who have built this institution. Oh, this is dedicated to all the employees of the Universal Atlas Cement Companies and its predecessors who have built this institution. And this book was actually, it's not my book, I borrowed this long-term borrow from Brian Green from the Army Corps. Thanks, Brian, appreciate it. And Brian got it from the Washington State Library. So the reason why I break this out, there's a lovely quote here that talks about cement and concrete. And people just don't talk about construction materials like this anymore. And I want to read this and comment on David's question. So here we go. And please bear in mind, this was written in 45. So the language back then, when they use his, they mean they. Including both the male and the female. So please bear that in mind. So, from the time an American opens his eyes in the morning until he closes them again at night, the hours of his day are virtually filled with the services of cement and concrete. He would ask himself, if he stopped to think, whether any other discovery of man touches his life at so many points. And I hope you heard that, again, it was man meant them, or we're converting it to that. So, whoops. Sorry, I missed the last portion of that. If, on the other hand, he is engaged in the business of making cement and concrete, he would already understand its significance. He would understand that he's doing more things for more people and more permanently for their welfare than he would be doing in a similar position in many other industries.
Aww.
How powerful is that? And this is something that we're going after with, there's this big witch hunt for, cement, and how it is one of the leading causes of CO2, or cement production is one of the leading sources for CO2 in our environment. 3 to 5% depending on whose research you read. And while those folks are right, you have to ask yourself, if I want to build a concrete or a bridge that spans a part of the ocean, an inlet, a river, what other material can I use that won't have a negative impact on the environment? What can I span the bridge with nothing but lumber? Can I really chop down that many trees? Can I create just an asphalt-based structure and get that much asphalt oil and that much rock out of the earth and still deal with the material that cannot sustain the type of loads that it needs to sustain? Can I build the whole thing out of steel, even the foundation? And what is the carbon footprint of that? And once you come up with the answer for that, which I think you see where I'm going, extend that to the rest of construction. Can we use lumber piles for all construction throughout the world? Can we convert that foundation to steel? Or maybe there's a better way to use our current materials. Maybe, even though this sounds impossible, there's a way that we can reduce the carbon footprint of a cubic yard or a cubic meter of concrete by 95%. Now I know that sounds impossible, but what if we failed at but reduced it by 45%? couldn't we still call that a win? And while I want to imagine one day without concrete, it's very hard for me to do that. Because everything in our lives, throughout civilizations, throughout time, has concrete as either the cornerstone, the foundation, the civil infrastructure, as well as our transportation systems. So concrete is a part of our world. And imagining a day without is very tough, but imagining a way to make concrete not only stronger and last longer, but make it a less CO2 emitting product, both in use and efficiency of the raw materials, to the construction, as well to the demolition and the waste of concrete. So, thanks so much for joining. Hopefully you learned something. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go Concrete!
Beat us for